So, what you're supposed to learn in this session is to discuss the basic skills to learn before programming, explain the key features of Java programming language, what JRE is or Java Runtime Environment, identify the different Java platforms, and discuss the various types of Java applications that you are going to encounter and how they are going to be used. So, from our lesson yesterday, you have learned that a buggy software is not really conducive for a business viewpoint. So, we have shown the scenario of Cyberpunk yesterday. We have also discussed the levels or the hierarchies of programming language, in which the most basic type of programming language is binary. We have yet to discern what the highest level of language is, but Java definitely is one of the higher languages in the hierarchy. So, we have also discussed the inputs and outputs and how they are going to influence how your program will function. We have also discussed what the software development cycle is. If you have any questions, you may open your mic, okay? So, we have also discussed the software development cycle or SDLC, the different steps in SDLC, and we ended there. So, I think Sir Earl might have discussed what pseudocode is. I don't know. Have Sir Earl discussed what pseudocode on you from the previous from your previous lesson or not? Can somebody enlighten me if Sir Earl discussed pseudocode on you? Wala? So I guess Sir Earl might have missed this lesson. So pseudocode Pseudocode is a type of structured English but without strict grammar rules. So it is basically stating just basically stating what the program intended for that line of code. So for example, ask user height then ask user weight. It means that it is asking for an input. It is asking for both height, then it is asking for weight. Then a computation happens, which is if height is equals to 0 or weight is equals to 0, then it will throw an error. The error message will be incorrect input values. Return to the beginning, which means that it is going to ask height and weight again. Then and if weight over height and height squared, which is height times height. So the message will be the computation of your body mass index or BMI. For those who never understood what BMI is, it is body mass index. I think your PE teachers might have discussed it on you. They might have made you compute it on your grade 11. I think it is being discussed in your grade 11 lesson. So let's move on to flowchart. Flowchart represents the application in a diagram whereby the boxes show the activities and arrows the sequences between them. So if you have looked at the table 1.1, it represents an overview of the most important flowchart construction concepts. So these are just the basic or the most important flowchart construction concepts. It actually includes a lot more than this. There are several more that is not included in this table, but most likely you will be using uh, these symbols. In figure 1.4, it gives us an example of how the flowchart was created for the BMI. Both pseudocode and flowcharts can be used concurrently to facilitate the programming exercise. A key advantage of flowcharts when compared to pseudocode is that they are visual and thus easier to interpret. So this is an example of how a flowchart is being made. So I think there is an error over here. As you can see, it's supposed to be a message end because it's not supposed to start. So I will just ready this whiteboard for our answering later. We can create an activity in which you are going to sample how to create a flowchart. So a next step is to code our program in a particular language. So regardless of the programming language, um, the flowchart will stay the same. The choice of language will depend on the program paradigm and the platform adopted. So for us, we will be using Java for Android. Uh, this allows us the capability to run the programs we have written directly to our own mobile devices. So if you have Android phones on you, maybe we can run the software that we are going to use. You may use you may use emulators, of course, but you won't be as proud as you are with your accomplishment when you're just displaying it on the computer, right? So I encourage you, if you have an Android phone, you may use Android phones or your own phones to have the applications that you have outputted or you have made display on your phone as an application, an actual phone application. During application development, it is important that every program is intensively tested to avoid errors. Often in programming, errors are called bugs. Programming tools frequently have debugging facilities built in easily to track bugs and correct them. It is possible to debug your program without the use of such tools. Um, so oftentimes when you um, create a program, you will encounter such errors. It could be user induced, it could be software induced, could be hardware induced. It depends on the situation. Software induced, it could mean that um, there is a bug, particularly on the code that you have typed. This represents 90% of the errors that the user might encounter. So commonly, it would be caused by human error. So, habang type ka diyan ng code or nag-copy paste ka ng code from the internet, most likely hindi yan gagana for you because codes or source codes are usually uh, case by case basis. So, kung ano man yung makikita mo sa internet, di yan automatically mag-a-apply sa gagawin mo. So, finally, programs should be maintained on an ongoing basis. There are many reasons for regular maintenance. So, for those who have encountered actually playing games, if you notice, there will be a regularly patches. We call those, sa software development life cycle, ang patches nasa maintenance phase na yan. Yung mga nagbe-beta testing ng games, for example, kaka-release pa lang ng games or ito na games may 5 heroes pa lang or uh, may 5 characters pa lang, nasa testing and integration pa lang yan. Sinusubukan pa lang nila, they are trying out if uh, everything that they have poured into the software is actually working as they intended. So, it actually resides in the testing and integration. Testing and integration is supposed to be separate. Testing is pre-release, as I have stated before. Pre-release is testing. Integration means the full release of the program. So whether you have bugs or the software will feel incomplete if you go to the integration phase, it means you have released it as intended, whether it is incomplete or not. So maintenance. If we go to the maintenance, it means that you are just fixing whatever is missing from the integration phase. So let's say integration phase is the um, other half of the number 5 phase. If you think integration or the software you have made in the integration phase is incomplete, then you may do so in the maintenance phase. In maintenance phase also, you may decide if the program is sufficiently made that it cannot be uh, added any more patches. This go ito yung nangyari sa tinawag nating yung Windows 7, 'di ba? It ended its life cycle daw, sabi ng Microsoft, 'di ba? Because it is intending to re recycle the development for Windows 10. So ito yung nangyayari. Currently, Windows 10 is on the maintenance phase na. It means that we are expecting to have another Windows operating system somewhere in the future. Right now, they are just adding more features to the program because it is in maintenance phase na. Now, we will be discussing about the features of Java. So, features of Java. Java omits some of the vaguely defined features of C++. It has facilities for automatic garbage collection, meaning garbage collection is open lang natin yung task manager para makita nyo. So, I think we already know that everything or every software that we are using uses up memory. So, for example, ito. For example, if we're going to use a program, depending on uh, s- uh, the programming language that is being used to create the program, it uses up memory as well as other hardware components. For example, the CPU, or if it is a video intensive program, that it may also use your video card as well, or GPU. So let's go on to the memory. So for memory, automatic garbage collection means that whenever a sector of the memory is being used, it means that it will free up as soon as you exit the program. Kasi the old programs kasi, when they use RAM, they never return the used RAM. Nagtatambay lang siya sa RAM. It means that the memory usage will go up through time. Hindi siya nagfa-flush. Yan yung tinatawag nating garbage collection. So, the RAM will rise up through time. Especially, ito, pag nasa C++, hanggang magahang yung computer mo. Kasi naubos niya kahit 32 gigs pa yung RAM mo. Pag nasagad na yung RAM, magahang talaga yung computer na yan. So that's what happens with other simpler programming languages. So for Java, it has automatic garbage collection that whenever the process or the program has already fulfilled its purpose, it will return the RAM or the random access memory it has used for uh, other applications to use. So also, it includes a rich predefined set of packages. I will be discussing this later on, that can be easily reused by application developers. So, isa rin 'to. Though, sa C++ kasi meron na 'tong mga tinatawag nating libraries in which the Java simply copied. Java has more feature-rich libraries than C++. For example, the use of cameras, the use of GPS. Yan. Meron na yan. Yes? May question ba? Pag may question kayo, sabi lang kayo ha. So, again, ito pero its syntax looks very similar to C++, making it easy for experienced programmers to learn and use. Sample. Uy, leak. So for C++, for your for a program to ask your name, it is simply just C in your name. Then kung gusto natin i-display yung name na kinuha niya, let's say C out your name. Ganyan sa C++. You can complete it in 2 lines. You may also do it in Java. I will be showing you later how to do it in Java. Pero for now, I will be running through everything because I think we are limited on time. So, the next feature of Java is it is platform independent and portable. So, by using a hybrid compilation interpretation approach, Java can be executed in a network environment with different platforms. Meaning, whether you are using a PC, whether you are using an emulator, whether you're using your phone, it can make use of the Java capability. Object-oriented. Object-oriented, we will be discussing what object-oriented is. I will elaborate this further in our further lessons. But being object-oriented means that you can easily imagine how your program would be created. Secure. Java has many facilities to guarantee security in a network environment. As a matter of fact, the Oracle company in which Java originally is, as a stable infrastructure no na they decided to branch out as a different company. Multi-threaded. Ito yung kasi I think we have this I think di ko to na-discuss sa inyo pero there was once a certain Intel engineer no that stated that um yung capabilities daw ng isang processor nag-i-increase daw exponentially throughout the years. So, from the time na na-invent yung pinaka-simple na IC which is a transistor which is just 2 plugs, nag-rise daw siya through the years until nag-peak siya in 2010. 2010 is the era of what we call the CPU multithreading. CPU multithreading kasi ito na yung lumabas na yung Intel Core, yung mga i3, i5, i7, yung mga Ryzen, yan. Those are what we call multi-threaded CPUs. Meaning, sa loob ng compute ng CPU na yan, meron yang dalawang 2 or more actual dies. Meaning, if there is a certain instruction set meaning yung program mo na converted from Java. So, halimbawa, ito Java. I-convert mo na yan to binary signals. Then binary signals, ipapadala yan sa CPU. So, kaya ng isang computer kaya ng CPU na multiple depende sa kung ilang dice yung nasa CPU. Meaning, kaya niyang mag-translate kung depende kung ilang instruction sets yung nasa, or rather, ilang processors yung nasa CPU mo. So, sa multi-threading kasi, you can also make your program. For example, gagawa ka ng program. Tapos gusto mo madaming characters. Halimbawa sa game to, gagawa ka ng madaming parang NPCs. Bawat NPCs na yan dapat may sariling utak, 'di ba? Hindi pwedeng gagalaw yung isang NPC, sabay sila lahat gagalaw. Hindi ganoon. So, you need to create a separate program for each NPC. Pwede mo yung gawin in a single software. We call that multi-threading. Para halimbawa isang NPC may sariling CPU na allocation. Isang NPC na to, itong pulis na naman may sarili siyang CPU allocation. That is what we call multi-threading. Para na-utilize yung CPU usage. Balik ulit tayo sa sa task manager. Punta tayo sa CPU. So, ito yung madalas nakikita natin sa CPU, but depende sa kung ilang cores yung nasa CPU. Meron kasi yang breakdown natin. Bakit walang breakdown to? Depende kasi sa kung ilang cores yung CPU mo. Pwede siyang mag-multitask. Bale, ang multithreading kasi parang nagdadagdag ka ng task sa isang CPU. Ito ata yung CPU ko. Ayan. So, kung napansin nyo sa CPU, 12 dice yan. Meaning, hindi sila pare-parehas ng task. Kasi, tignan mo, hindi sila pantay. May isang CPU na konti lang ang task. May isang CPU na halos karga niya yung buong computer. Pwede mo tong patayin tong isang CPU. So that is the purpose of multi-threading. Hindi mo kailangang pagsabay-sabayin gamitin yung lahat ng cores ng computer mo. So that is what multi-threading is. Kung may clarifications kayo, may ask so, ha? So, dynamic. Java allows code to be added in libraries dynamically and determine which code should be run at execution time. So, ito, habang nagko-code ka, pwede ka pang magdagdag ng code, so on and so forth. Habang kahit running yung program, which is possible at certain scenarios. I will be discussing this more on our later topics in interface and implementation. Medyo malayo pa to. So, what makes Java work? Before tayo mag-move on sa what makes Java work, baka may question kayo in our lesson. Baka masyado lang akong mabilis. Sige, questions muna. Kahit anong question, bato nyo na lang. Questions. Baka masyado ako mabilis. Sure kayo walang kayang... Wala. Okay. So, let's go back to our lesson, no? So, what makes Java work? So, dito naman, magdi-discuss tayo ano yung bytecode, ano yung JRE, ano yung nagpapagana sa ating mga Java programs. So, ito yung Hello World. Ito yung pinakaunang program na gagawin natin for our Module 1. Hello World. So, for now, relax muna tayo. Di muna tayo gagawa nito. So, explain ko muna, then we will be proceeding with the installation of Android Studio. Sa mga hindi pa nakapag-install dyan, pwede nyong i-hold nyo na lang muna, sabay na lang tayo mag-install. though may installed na ako na Java or Android Studio, I will reinstall it again para klaro sa inyo. So, before we start discussing what Java bytecode is, we should first address compilers, interpreters, and other working components. So, in order for a computer to execute a source code, it should be first converted into a language that a computer can understand. So again, what is the most basic language of computers? And it is a binary, di ba? So, bago maging binary yung isang program, need niya muna ng isang intermediary na language. And we use the program called compiler to create such. So, a compiler is a program that translates code written in high-level programming language into machine code. So, which is in binary. So, ganito yung process. Let's say nag-program ka ng Java program dyan. So, it will be given to a compiler. Then, the compiler will then convert it into the binaries, which is a binary, or the electronic signals. Then, the electronic signals will be sent to the CPU or hardware. So, ganun yung flow. So, a compiler is a program which translates code written in high-level programming language into a machine code. It does this by reading the code and comparing it with the syntax rules. So basically parang IDE rin yung yung itong compiler. So these intermediary codes are often written in a low-level language known as assembly language. So, assembly language, kung titignan nyo ulit dito sa flow natin, Java, pababa siya sa assembly language, then assembly language, pababa sa binary. Ganun lang yun. Bababa siya ng level by level. Hindi siya diretsyong baba sa binary. Imposible yan. Mapupuno ng signals yung hardware. So, it is implemented in this manner as a machine code made in a computer will never be compatible with other devices. For example, kahit parehas tayong Windows user, iba-iba yung hardware specifications natin, di ba? May iba dyan naka-Intel yung computer, may iba dyan naka-Ryzen yung computer, meron dyan iba na tagpi-tagpi yung computer, custom build. Kung ang Microsoft gumawa lang for a certain computer, for example, gusto lang nila Intel lang yung gagawa nila, hindi gagana yan for other Ryzen computers. That's why they made assemblers so that they will make a machine code compatible with the computer that you are using or the hardware that you are currently using. In the sense, you can imagine the hardware of a computer to be a gear in a very complicated cog pattern. A compiler serves as a smaller gear that will make the computer do its function. So, this is how a compiler works. Source code to compiler, then the compiler will throw an assembly language. Ito, assembly language code. Then, assembly language code will be converted into the machine code. On the other hand, interpreter is parang same lang din siya ng function ng compiler. The difference is it runs directly into machine code. Didiretsuhin niya into machine code. And it also kaya niyang mag-create ng program or kaya niyang basahin line per line ng isang program. So more of the definition is being written here. Di ko na yan babasahin, but basically, compiler is being used by most high-level languages. For example, C, C++, and Java. So again compiler ang ginagamit ng C, C++, and Java. Saan ginagamit yung interpreter, sir? PHP, JavaScript, yan, interpreter ang ginagamit nila. Most web-based na programming languages, interpreter ginagamit. Paano mo malalaman yung difference ng compiler at interpreter? Ito interpreter din yung HTML. Meaning, kung ano yung nakikita mo, di mo na yan mababago. Kailangan mong mag-refresh, di ba? Sa browser, kailangan mong mag-refresh para makita mo yung changes. Kasi, na-run na yung code. Hindi na niya mababago. Pero sa interpreter kasi, kaya niyang baguhin kahit running na yung program. Yan, sa interpreter yan. Sa compiler, once nag-run na yung program, di mo na siya mababago unless isa-stop mo yung program or i-refresh mo yung program. So, again, interpreter would be using JavaScript. Yun, ginagamit yan sa Facebook. Kaya nakaka-chat ka. Nagbabago yung page kahit nagchat-chat ka. JavaScript and PHP, yan. Interpreter yan siya ng languages. Medyo confusing siya, I know. Pero if you have any questions, just ask so, Again, compiler C, C++, and Java. Interpreter, JavaScript, and PHP. Including na rin yung sa Microsoft, may ginawa rin silang counterpart ng PHP. Ang pangalan sa kanila is ASP. Yan yung makikita mo sa websites na may .asp or .php. Yan. So, though yung Java gumagamit ng compiler, meron silang specialized na compiler na ginagamit para sa certain programs. Ang tawag nila sa compiler na to is Java Virtual Machine. So, ito yung sa kanila. 'Di ba may source code, compiler, then bytecode, then Java Virtual Machine. Java Virtual Machine is hindi kasi siya per se nagra-run sa computer. For example, ito. Papakita ko na lang sa iyo. Ito yung Java code na ginawa mo. So, gumawa ka ng Java code, ipapadala niya sa compiler. 'Di ba yung compiler, siya yung gumagawa ng parang intermediary na code. So, gumawa siya ng intermediary na code. Ang intermediary na code na ginawa niya para sa Java, ang tawag daw is bytecode. Bytecode ang tawag nito sa sa Java, yung intermediary code. Hindi siya assembly language. So ito bytecode. Kung basahin niyo na lang 'to, nandito 'yan lahat sa sa lesson. So yung bytecode, 'yan yung ipapadala niya sa Java Virtual Machine. Java Virtual Machine para siyang software na sandbox na nakakulong sa isang computer. Diyan niya ira-run yung program. So yung output niya is code. Yung code na yun, yan yung ipapadala niya as binary instruction sa computer or sa hardware. Kaya napansin nyo sa installation or sa pag-download nyo ng program, bakit ang dami, sir? Merong para sa Windows, merong para sa Linux, merong para sa Mac. It is for this reason, para gagawa siya ng personalized na output code depende sa ginamit nyo na computer system. So, balik lang tayo dito. Ayan. So, may personalized siya na code depende sa operating system na ginagamit nyo sa computer nyo. Any questions? May questions ba kayo regarding sa ginawa ko or confusing ba? Okay, let's move on. Java Runtime Environment. Ah, Java Runtime Environment is a piece of software that contains the Java class libraries. Ito yung Java class libraries itong mga Java Applet, Java IO, Java Math, yan, libraries yan. Yan yung tinutukoy ng doon sa features ng Java, 'di ba, na ah meron siyang libraries na magagamit mo, simple. So, tawagin mo lang 'yan, may function ka na. Hindi ka nagagawa ng sarili mong calculator. Gagamitin mo na lang yung function na 'yan. Halimbawa, gusto mong mag-add. 'Yan. Hindi mo na i-manipulate 'yan sa computer itself. Gagamitin mo na lang yung Java Math na library. Halimbawa, gagamitin mo yung camera. So, i-call mo lang yung Android na camera na library. Or gusto mong gamitin yung QR code. Ganon din. So, ito yung example ng mga libraries na magagamit mo sa Java. So, for this purpose, no, ang gagamitin lang natin most of the time kasi Android tayo, ang gagamitin lang natin is siguro Java Math, Java Util, gagamitin natin to minsan. Siguro pag na tayo, gagawa na kayo ng full program, meron kayong Java SQL, so on and so forth. Pero sa UI, magde-depend tayo sa Android. Class loaders, medyo boring na to basahin eh. Mas gusto ko tong kayo mismo mag-learn ito eh. So, I would assume na naka-install na yung iba, di ba? I will be proceeding with the installation guide na after this. So, Java platforms. Dito muna tayo. Before tayo mag-end sa discussion natin today, we will be going through with the Java platforms and Java applications. So, meron tayong ibang klase ng Java. Ang pinaka-closest na ginagamit natin sa Android is what we call J2SE or Java Standard Edition. Kung napansin nyo, unan kong pina-download sa inyo is yung JDK is in Java Standard Edition. Pina-download ko yung JDK sa inyo. It is the most used na platform running on desktop PCs. Enterprise Edition, ito yung mga ginagamit ng mga malalaking companies. Usually Java yung pinapatakbo nila yung computer nila. Kahit yung MCM, meron yung Java server yan. J2ME, hindi nyo siguro na abutan to, pero there was a time that the most popular running operating system is running on Java. We call that operating system Symbian. Pinauso to ni Nokia. So lahat ng Nokia phones nyo na may browser dati or may internet capability, Symbian yung OS nila. So, yun yung first dive ko ng programming. Gumagawa ako ng program for mobile devices using the Symbian, which is running J2ME or Java Micro Edition. Simpler siya na style ng Java Edition. Java Card. Running to siya sa mga smart cards. For example, ATMs, SIM cards, so on and so forth. Yan. Then, JavaFX. Ito yung makikita mo na nasa browser na ginagamit. For example, may mga browser na styles na animations na ginagamit sa sa browser.
Java effects ang gamit nila. So, I think yun na lang yun for the Java. Discuss ko na lang to konti tong ano yung Android. Kasi ibang-iba yung Android sa Java. Hindi siya actually, parang gumagamit lang siya ng Java pero hindi siya Java per se. So ito naman yung structure ng isang Java or rather ng Android operating system. Ganun pa rin yun. Lowest level ito, highest level ito. So in the lowest level, mamamanipulate mo yung hardware. Hardware to lahat. So they are governed by drivers. Ito yung ang drivers, software yan siya na mag-aalaw sa iyo para gamitin mo yung software siya na mag-aalaw na gamitin mo yung hardware na gusto tinutukoy niya. For example, driver ng display. Kung magamit mo yung driver ng display, pwede mo siyang utusan na patayin ba yung monitor or yung screen ng phone mo. Yan. Binder IPC, siya yung in charge na i-handle lahat ng mga nasa phone. USB, Wi-Fi, camera, Bluetooth. Pwede mo yang i-access lahat. Hardware abstraction layer, ito naman yung parang intermediary na layer. So may audio, same lang din to. Sensors, then native C++ libraries, nasa middle na tayo na ground. Medyo higher level na to ng language. Android runtime. Kung napansin nyo, dito muna tayo. Kung napansin nyo dito sa diagram na to, di ba? Source, compiler, bytecode, Java, or JVM, then machine code. Dito sa Android, yung flow, halos parehas pa rin. So, halimbawa, gagawa tayo ng Java program. Gagawa tayo ng Java program. Isa side by side lang natin para parang may effect. Gagawa tayo ng Java program. Ngayon, for example, may Android Studio tayo. Yung Java program natin, didiretso sa Java API network. So, Java API network, dyan niya i-interpret yung code mo. Then, yung Java API network, magsaserve siya parang library. Library siya ng mga functions. Then, ipapadala niya sa Android runtime. Ngayon, itong Android runtime, ito na yung magiging parang compiler ng phone mo. Ito yung compiler ng phone mo. Iba yung pangalan niya dito. Android runtime. So, Android runtime, ipapadala niya sa computer or sa phone mo. So, ito, may diagram ata ako nung nag-explain paano siya gumana sa phone. So, ito, gumawa ka ng code mo sa Android Studio. Various APIs. Ito yan, Java API Network. Then, Dex code, yan, APK. Alam mo na yung APK, di ba? Yan yung ini-install nyo sa phone nyo. APK, then ini-interpret ng Java 8 framework interface, ipapadala sa Android runtime. Then si Android runtime, babasahin niya yung code. Ano ba yung mga hardware na ginamit sa program na to? Gumamit ba siya ng keypad? So, iko-contact niya si keypad. Gumamit ba siya ng Bluetooth? O sige, contact mo ulit si Bluetooth. So, ganun yung nangyayari. Contact niya dito, then, i-display niya yung magiging output niya. Analyze nyo na lang. So, code mo, ginawa mo sa Android Studio, kinompile mo using Android Studio, naging APK siya. Yung APK, nakasave na sa phone mo, so i-connect niya sa API network, then ipapadala niya sa compiler, which is ang ART. Then si ART, i-connect niya sa mga hardware na nasa phone mo. After connecting it with the hardware na nasa phone mo, i-display niya sa phone mo. Klaro? Pag may questions kayo, tanong lang kayo personally at pwede niyong i-ask sa akin through pwede nyo i-ask sa akin through Messenger or Facebook. So, I'm sure masasagutan niyo na siguro 'tong mga questions. Papakita ko na lang sa inyo saglit. Ayan, kaya niyo na siguro 'tong mga question na 'to kung nagbasa kayo. So, ayan, pinakita ko lang sa inyo saglit. Then, we are going to proceed with the installation of Android Studio. Saglit lang. Nasaan ko pa nilagay yung Android Studio? Ayun. Teka, downloads Android Studio. So, wala na bang questions before we move on? Parang tapos na tayo eh. May questions pa ba kayo dyan? Kahit anong tanong. Wala tayong camera tomorrow ha. We will be using camera by Monday na lang. Wala muna tayong camera tomorrow. You don't have to worry about your faces. Yes? Yes? Mm. For this class, hindi ko na lang siya i-require but I will definitely add 10 plus 10 flat points no per course that is fulfilled. Pili lang kayo kung anong course yung kukunin nyo. Dalawa yung ni-recommend ako na course for this subject. The programming one and the UI one. So kung gusto niyo mag-focus sa design, actually patapos na 'to. Pwede niyong piliin lang 'to. Isang course lang dito. Hindi niyo kailangan tapusin lahat. Ito lang visual elements user interface lang. And the programming one, asan na yung sa programming? My save courses. Hindi ko na kasi makita eh. Binago kasi nila. I-paste ko na lang. Yes? Oh, i-paste ko na lang sa chat. Yes? Yung Java for Android, ito. Magbibigay ako ng answer nito. Tutulungan ko kayo nito para makuha nyo yung certificate. For your own good kasi ito eh. Hindi ko siya per se nire-require sa course nyo, pero ni-recommend ko siya. I will be giving plus 10 points kasi ano to eh, para sa future nyo to eh. Need nyo to sa employment. Hindi ko kayo pinipilit na kunin nyo to, pero if makuha nyo to or ipagpapatuloy nyo, I will be giving you plus 10 direct to the card na. So, halimbawa, natapos nyo for the third quarter, then third quarter and fourth quarter na mag-apply yung plus 10 nyo sa grade. Ilalagay ko siya as parang PT na grade. Lalagyan ko. Then, kung gusto nyo medyo design yung focus ng output nyo, then you may do so using itong kung ayon yung parang program, meron naman tayong visual elements of user interface design. Di ko lang na-submit yung ano ko actually. Di ko lang na-submit yung final madali lang naman to eh actually. Kung gusto niyo mag-proceed dito, ito create a simple pattern library. Gagawa lang kayo ng designs. Ayan, may template pa nga sila eh. Ayan. Gagawa kayo ng image button, ano yung magiging hitsura ng app nyo. Ganun lang. Kasi ito, nagta-tie-in rin to sa course natin eh. So, depends lang sa inyo kung ano yung course na kukunin nyo. Ito, Visual Elements of User Interface Design or Java for Android. Pili lang kayo sa dalawa. Pwede nyo kunin yung dalawa plus 20 kung gusto, adventurous kayo na type. Then go ahead. So, para medyo mabilis tayo sa progress natin, siguro, ah, tomorrow, diretso na siguro tayo sa week 2 ng lessons natin, no? Ito muna, last na lang. Magsasample na lang ako paano gumawa ng yung flowchart sa mga di marunong. Let's say, ito, let's say, meron tayong program na ang function niya, uh, wage calculator. Let's say, ang pay ko per hour is 100 pesos. Regular rate ko is 100 pesos per hour. Pero, each hour na nag-overtime ako, ang pay ko is magiging 125 per hour. So, paano yan itra-translate into flowchart? Magsisimula ka sa start. Susulat mo dyan, start. Then, syempre, hihingin mo yung, hihingin mo yung ilang hours ka nag-duty. So, kasi input-output yan. Basta input-output, ganito yung ask hours. Ganun lang. So, decision. Pag decision, diamond. If hours, di ko kasi magkasya dyan. Nakasulat, if hours exceed, kasi 8 hours lang yung required per day eh. If hours is greater than 8, is greater than 8, yan ang nakasulat dito. If hours is greater than 8, if yes, meron din tayong no. So, ganun lang kasimple. May yes, may no. So, kung lumampas siya ng 8, magiging iba yung computation niya. Ay, mali yung dinowing ko na shape. Hours is equals to 125 per hour. If no, hours is 100 per hour. So, ganun na. Mag-i-intersect sila sa end. Ganun lang kasimple. Any questions regarding the flow chart? May questions pa ba kayo? Baka may magtanong pa regarding sa flowchart. Madaming criteria yung flowchart. For example, yung coloring. Hindi naman siguro puro blue lang yung color ng Halimbawa, iba yung color ng start, iba yung color ng end. Itong per boxes, same ng color. Ito, iba naman. Then, iba-iba ng color bawat shape. Basta gamitin nyo yung formatting ha. Meron tayong iba-ibang colors. Depende yan sa inyo kung ano yung gagawin nyo sa per So, ano namang oras na? 11 na. May klase pa ba kayo? May 11 kayo na class? Sa Richie, ah, Kasi kukunin ko na lang yung 10 minutes, babawiin ko yung kulang natin yesterday. Wala pod. Okay. So 10 minutes lang to. So setting up your development environment, no. Basig na libog mo ba? So open ko na lang yung Android Studio. Ine-next lang nyo na lang yung installation eh. Kasi madaming nagtatanong, sir, basig mahurot ang ako ang data ani or something. So this is the Android Studio. Ano? Depende yan sa inyo ha kung i-update nyo to. For example, ito, plug-in Kotlin. Hindi naman tayo gagamit ng Kotlin language. Pwede nyo yung i-ignore. Kasi malakas mag-update yung ano eh, yung Android Studio. Kung hindi nyo alam yung ina-update nyo, baka update siya ng update. So, papakita ko na lang sa inyo yung interface. I-change ko lang ng monitor to. Lilipat ko sa kabila. So, ito yung makikita nyo sa Android Studio. So, punta na lang kayo sa lesson 2 ng ano nyo ha. Ito. Punta kayo sa lesson 2. Module 1, lesson 2. Makikita nyo yung ano, mga arrows ko. Papakita ko. Meron ring installation guide dyan ha. Pwede nyo yung sundin yung installation guide dyan. Kung gusto nyo mag ano. So, ayan. Meron tayong ano dyan. Guide. So, nakikita nyo ba yung mouse ko? Klaro ba sa stream? Paki-confirm ako. Klaro ba sa stream yung mouse ko? Sige. So, ito papakita ko na lang sa inyo or sasabihin ko na lang anong tawag per part. Tawag nito, itong my project safe haven, app, SRC main. Tawag dyan is navigation bar. Ito naman yung nakikita nyong pinakamalaking consumption ng space dyan. Tawag natin nito editor window. Dito tayo nagko-code sa editor window. Ito naman, tawag natin dito is tool window to. Ito, nasa gilid. Pati ito, tool window to lahat. So, madaming tools dyan. Tools. Makikita nyo yung functionality ng GitHub. Papakita ko lang siya in a while. Uh, After makipakita ko yung mga parts ng Android Studio. So, ito, tool window to. Then, ang toolbar, ito, toolbar. Toolbar to. Itong maliit na bar dito sa gilid, toolbar. So, i-click mo yan, may magpapakita na features dyan. Balik tayo dito sa editor window. May iba-iba na editor window. Depende sa kung ano yung pipiliin nyo. For example, um, ito, XML, ito yung parang sa mga may experience ng HTML, ito yung parang CSS ng HTML. Ito yung magiging design template. So, for example, ito yung design ng app namin. So, chart picker. Halimbawa. So, yun. Ayan. So, dito, pwede mong i-manipulate dito. So, like, ito, type your family name. Ayan. Baguhin mo. So, ito yung parang layout. Ito naman yung code. Dito, makikita mo kung saan ito, tawag dito is toolbar. Ito, toolbar rin to eh. So, dito, nandito yung run. Ayan, iraran mo yung app. Teka lang, saksak ko lang yung phone para mapakita ko rin sa inyo paano siya magra-run sa phone. So, ayan ha. So, ayan, lumabas na yung phone ko. Pero need yung i-install yung phone or nakakabit yung phone sa computer nyo para lumabas siya dito. So, teka lang, iraran ko na lang siya ha. Saglit lang to. So, ayan. So yan, phone ko yan, actual phone ko yan na nakakabit sa computer ko. So pag pinindot ko yung execute, yan, pinindot ko yung execute. So nakikita nyo naglo-loading yan siya dito sa build. Sa baba may loading bar, napapansin nyo. So ayan, dira na yung program. So ito sample lang to ng ginawa namin as ano, 'di ba? So pwede niyong i-manipulate yung program niyo kung ano yung gagawin niyo, 'di ba? Ayan. So ito yung program. So pwede niyong i-close dito yung program kung gusto niyong i-stop yung app. So babalik siya sa screen. Pero kung halimbawa wala kayong phone, pwede niyong gamitin yung emulator. So pwede kang gumawa ng emulator niyo, pwede niyong i-run sa emulator yung program niyo. So hindi na 'to kailangan. Ayan, may emulator na. So parang phone lang din yung hitsura niya. So depende yan. Medyo mabigat kasi ito sa computer eh. Ito, mali ata na pindot ko. Okay. Medyo mabigat to sa computer, kaya di ko siya ina-advise na gumamit ka ng emulator.